So let's have a look at how we would carry out a monohybrid cross. Now, monohybrid crosses are where we're looking at just one characteristic. So let's have a look at hair colour as being our characteristic. And we can have either dark hair, or we can have fair or light hair. And we know that dark hair is dominant. In other words, if you have at least one of the alleles for dark hair, you will have dark hair. And light hair is recessive, so you'll only have light hair if the only alleles you've got are for light. And we need to come up with a pair of letters to denote dark and light. So let's pick D for dark being dominant and little d being light recessive. And we're going to have a look at a cross between two individuals that have dark hair, but we happen to know that they are both heterozygous. So they have both the alleles for dark and the alleles for light hair. And we want to know what are the ratio of offspring they might have. So we're going to do a Punnett square. So we're going to create a quick Punnett square. The male here can give to his offspring either a dominant allele for dark hair or a recessive allele for light hair. And the female can do the same. She can give either a dominant allele or a recessive allele. And to calculate the contents of the square, we just combine columns with rows. So in the first square, we get a dominant allele from both parents. In the second square on the top row, we get a dominant from the female and a recessive allele from the male. In the bottom row and the first column, we get a dominant from the male and a recessive from the female. And in the final square, we get a recessive allele from both parents. So we now want to have a look at the genotypic ratio. So looking at the alleles themselves, what combinations have we got? And we've actually got three different combinations. We've got big D, so homozygous dominant. We've got individuals who are heterozygous, both a dominant and a recessive allele. And we have finally an individual who is homozygous recessive. And if we count them up, then we have one individual who is homozygous dominant, and we have two individuals who are heterozygous, and we finally have one individual who is homozygous recessive. So that's the genotypic ratio. The phenotypic ratio is looking at what do they actually look like. How many of the offspring have dark hair and how many of the offspring have fair hair. So we're looking at dark and light, which are the two possible phenotypes. And if we look at dark, the ones that have at least one dominant allele is this one, and this one. So there are three of them. And of those that have light hair, there is one of them.